Hi, I'm Marsh from StrataGames, and today we're playing another deck donation. This is by Kenny Roger, and it's a deck they called Gruul Spawn. This is similar to the Gruul tokens list that people have been playing with for the last several months, but with some interesting includes. So we're going to be trying to make a whole bunch of tokens that we can convert into damage with either Glimmer Baron or Cloakwood Swarmkeeper. These are creatures that can grow based on our token count. Biograph can just sacrifice a token to be a giant creature for 2 mana. And we're playing a split of Impact Tremors and Raphael Tough Turtle, so that every single token that we play can ping our opponent directly. With their permission, I did make some changes to the deck list, so that's where the Raphaels are coming in. They were also only playing 1 Lightning Bolt before, and I just don't really believe in 1 Lightning Bolt. We're kind of an aggro mid-range deck, so I think having a full playset of Lightning Bolts is definitely the way to go. And they said the goal of this deck was just to make the largest creature possible. So of course we're also playing Writhing Chrysalis, and Tumbleweed Rising, an interesting one. It can be as cheap as 2 mana, or we can plot it to make a creature that's as big as our other biggest creature. As long as it doesn't get removed in response, that could be a Baron that sacrificed a bunch of tokens, and we get a permanently large creature, or maybe a Swarmkeeper, Chrysalis, etc. We also have 2 Thorn Thrash Viashino. This is a very interesting one I thought we would definitely keep in and try out. It's a 2/2 for 4, but it has Devour 2, so every creature we sacrifice will be adding twice that many counters, and it can give itself trample all on its own. We're playing a few Glimpse the Impossible, which can be card advantage, or just a way to make 3 spawn, buffing any of our various creatures, or dealing a bunch of damage. And then to give our giant creatures trample, they were playing 4 Fists of Flame. Instant speed, 2 mana, draw a card, and then your target creature gets trample and +1/+0 for each card you've drawn this turn. This is really the only way to draw additional cards, so I think the better trample enabler is going to be Rancor. It's not instant speed, but +2/+0, 1 mana, and recurable I think is going to be good enough. But I wanted to leave a couple of Fists of Flame in the deck to show off its potential, as it was a card that they thought could be pretty good. Our mana base has a bunch of Colony Gardens, which is another great way to make plants, and 4 Gruul Turf to bounce those gardens, and then just a bunch of basic lands. The sideboard they gave me had Fiery Cannonades instead of Breath Weapon, and they specifically mentioned this was because Breath Weapon is very expensive. So I figured, let's try to make this deck, especially the sideboard, as budget-friendly as possible, because even though Pauper on the whole is a budget format, unfortunately so many staples have started growing to be $5, $10, $15 a piece, which is just unreasonable. Fiery Cannonade is going to be worse than Breath Weapon, especially if we go up against a Goblin Tomb Raider deck, but it does mostly the same thing, and we'll see if it really makes a difference here. So we are playing some budget options with Fiery Cannonade, a couple Ancient Grudge. We are still playing 3 Red Elemental Blast. If you wanted to cut $15 off of this $35 deck, you could drop all 3 of these for something else. 1 of Heritage Reclamation for Life Goes On as a great way to gain a whole bunch of life, and 2 Tormod's Crypt instead of the $5 Relic of Progenitus. So I think this deck can have a lot of power to it. Let's take it for a league and see how we do. Thanks to Card Market for sponsoring this video. I've written a comprehensive guide on how to play White Weenie in Pauper, including my ideal stock list, over 30 sideboard matchups, and a sideboard cheat sheet, which gives you a very easy snapshot view and what to sideboard for every single matchup. I also have guides for Black Sack and Esper Affinity. Each guide is only $15, and if you buy one, you will get all future updates that I ever make to that guide for free. I also offer coaching, so if you're interested in upping your Pauper game for any of the decks that I'm very proficient in, or if you're interested in having me play your deck in a future video, you can do a deck donation, which is the only way you'll ever see me playing Cycle Storm or Flickertron. Alright, this hand does not have any red mana, which could be a problem, but we do have Colony Garden into Biograph, so hopefully that will be a strong start, and if we can find our red mana, we can follow that up with maybe Glimpse into Chrysalis. Probably Impact Tremors first, actually. Tremors, Chrysalis. Ooh, Swarmkeeper's interesting. I think the 5/4 Groff is probably better to get going, though. Does look like we're against Ruby Storm, probably, which means Groff is like a good start, but also they could just beat us before we even get there. They Reckless Impulse and don't even hit a land. So these Anarchomancer is probably going to go away, so maybe we'll just get an easy win here, but we'll put our 5/4 on the field. They do have a Mountain and a Leyline Weaver, but the Anarchomancers are going to go away. Another Biograph. Well, I think we're actually just going to Swarmkeeper, sack it right away to a Groff, because 5/5 looks, or a 5/4 looks a lot better than a 1/1 here. And this only gives them 2 turns to do anything. Thornscape Familiar, no red, but we're just hoping they can't win this turn, which would be tough for them, but I suppose probably not impossible. Seething Song, big score. Reckless Impulse hits a big score and a Woodlot. Thornscape Familiar, so big score does make mana now. Discarding a Seize the Storm, but they have to continually hit mana and card draw. There's a Morphos. If they get really lucky, they are definitely going to win here. I think it's more likely they're going to peter out, but don't know for sure. First Day of Class, that's a pretty good one. Waterbending Lesson. They're going to pass the turn. Okay, well, that means they got a double chump. We get another Chrysalis. not doing us any favors. They were playing a couple landscapes in the deck, which I felt like landscape was not really needed here, but it's possible that we should be playing a couple more dual lands. Probably just the desert ping lands. They waterbending lesson into a Thornscape Familiar, Manamorphose, Seething Song, Reckless Impulse. It's another Morphos, Electric Revelation, Pirate's Pillage, another big score, Manamorphose, a Narcomancer, Glimpse the Impossible, which at the worst is going to give them more blockers, but they actually find another Glimpse, a Ren's Resolve, makes a bunch of spawn. Well, looks like we're going to be in a tough spot. We get tapped red, just because we can attack, but they have blockers. We're a couple turns away from going Impact Tremors into make a bunch of dudes. Gruul Turf, bounce this garden. Seize the Storm. Gives them a 25-25. No haste. Means maybe we can, like, if we get like a mountain, we can Impact Tremors, Writhing Chrysalis, ping for 3. Maybe have enough to survive next turn. Just a Colony Garden. We pretty much have to play Impact Tremors or Raphael. Block. I guess Raphael is another blocker. Deals them 1. Yeah, feels like we're going to be 1 turn short. We'll ping them for 1 and just pass. If they have nothing except attack with the elemental, then we can get them next turn. But if they can make another elemental with haste or something, we're going to die. A Narcomancer. Big score. Revelation, Pirate's Pillage, Glimpse the Impossible, hits another Seize the Storm, Ren's Resolve. They need to hit a first day of class here, which I'm still not seeing. Or I guess they could just get this elemental big enough. It's 31 right now, which means if they just attack with everything, I guess we're not going to be able to block enough, probably. Thornscape, Seize the Storm again, attack with everything. So this is 31, which means blocking this takes 20. So we're dead. I mean, they had a rough start, but us not getting red mana till like turn 8, pretty bad too. Fiery Cannonade, Tormod's Crypt, and Reclamation are all decent here. Reclamation's not amazing. Don't think this is about trampling much, so I think we can just cut the... Obviously, if we had trample there, it would have been okay, but I think in general we can cut those. Although maybe the Viashinos are worse, because they're just really slow and don't make 3 bodies for the Chrysalis. I think this should be an okay matchup. We just need to keep a better hand. Alright, this one, Impact Raphael, seems okay. I guess we're getting rid of a Forest. I want to play a 2-drop here, but also I kind of want the Impact Tremors down before, so maybe we need more red lands, because things are just looking a little awkward here. They have a Leyline Weaver. We're just probably going to kill that Leyline Weaver, but let's Rumble first. Another Impact Tremors. We already have 2 and only 1 red mana, so let's just take this Garden, bolt this guy. And that might be all they had, because now they're just discarding. Ooh, Mountain's great. So let's just Raphael and Bayou-Groff. Pass the turn. Like, they were relying on this to get their red mana, which is pretty good for us. They have a tapped Sandstone Needle. Glimpse the Impossible. So now we get to Impact Tremors. Colony Garden, which is going to ping them for 2. Malevolent Rumble, which is going to ping them for 2. We take Chrysalis. And then next turn I can Chris into Glimpse, which is going to deal 12 to them without even having to attack. Now the deck's working. They have an Anarchomancer, Thornscape Familiar, Seething Song. They're going to try to go off. Pirate's Pillage, Glimpse, Thornscape, another Glimpse, big score, Ren's Resolve, Reckless Impulse, Seething Song. They're doing a lot of stuff. I mean, they have to actually kill us this turn, which they definitely could. First day of class, found. Leyline Weaver, Electric Revelation, Manamorphose, Seething Song. Score, and they got there with a 25-25 elemental. Pretty unfortunate. We got a mulligan. I guess this one's okay. Although, again, our mana looks bad. Let's get rid of the Glimpse. Play a Baron right away. We'll Rancor up the Baron. Play a Colony Garden, swing for 3, Brainstorm, Cycle Alorian, Abandon Attachments, so it looks like Dimir Terror potentially, get back Snacker, Ponder. We do get a Mountain. I mean, I kind of want to Rancor this. If they have a Snuff Out, it's pretty bad. We lose this and a Rancor, but if not, it's a way we can actually deal some decent damage. Impact Tremors, pass the turn. Sleep of the Dead. Don't always see that in blue-black, but it is a really good card. That is annoying, though. We'll take 2. I could Chrysalis, but they're probably going to counter it. I think we'll just play another Impact Tremors then. If they counter the Chrysalis next turn, at least we'll hit for a whole bunch with the Tremors. If they want to counter this, that's totally fine. They'll also next turn have to deal with the Baron with a bunch of spawn to sacrifice, so they might have to sleep it again or something. They do counterspell. Swing for 2, and there's a Serpent. And a recasting of Sleep of the Dead, okay. Now we get to resolve Chrysalis, though. Ping them for 3. They're going to swing with the Serpent, which I can block here. I can actually sacrifice it to the Glimmer Baron. Ooh, still triggers the Chrysalis, but it grows this guy, which is a cool interaction. Right now it doesn't matter, but it would be a cool interaction on our turn. They now pay 4 mana for a terror since they used Sleep last turn, and they hardcast a Snacker. Okay. Not sure we can kill... Ooh, okay. I mean, I can play Raphael, triggers for 1, Rumble for 2, so they're at 6. And then I have 3 tokens, so Glimmer Baron can be 11. And they have to chump the Chrysalis, which means they would be trampling for 5. So not quite lethal, depending on what I get from the Rumble. But I think it makes sense to still just play Raphael here into the Rumble. I'll sack the Spawn so we have a green mana in case we get like a green 1-drop or 2-drop actually, which we do. Cloakwood Swarmkeeper should probably make this lethal now. Ping for 2. Cloakwood Swarmkeeper, ping for 2 more. Swing with the Baron and the Chrysalis. So this is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, so we'll trample for... Oh, actually, we'll only trample for 3. I may have miscounted, but we put him to 1 and we have a million ways to kill him next turn between 3 creatures that can gain trample, and also just any creature we play that resolves. Although I suppose since we sack the Spawn, if they have Unexpected Fangs here, they could gain some life. But it doesn't look like that's the case. Here we get Tormod's Crypt and Red Blast. Bolt is not as effective here. Alright, we have a pretty reasonable hand. I mean, we need some ways to make like the Tumbleweed better and stuff, but Red Blast is good. Gruul Turf to bounce the Garden can be good. They start with a Ponder. So we have plenty of lands. I think I probably want to save the Garden to ping after we've played the Raphael. So I think we might as well hold up Red Blast here. Not that I'm thinking we'll probably use it, because we probably want to use it on a Terror, but Cyclorian for an island, Glimpse. Well, I'm going to play Raphael. They could definitely Blue Blast it, Force Spike, and with the right sequence of cards, they could also use this opportunity to get down a Terror while we don't have Red Blast. They do have the Hydro. I was hoping it would resolve because I have a lot of ways to make tokens in hand, but what are you going to do? They Brainstorm, then Mental Note. And that is enough ways to play a Terror, enough spells. So I would love a Tormod's Crypt, because then I could blow up this Terror and exile their entire graveyard. And they did put a Sleep of the Dead in there. No Tormods. I could Glimpse to try to find Tormods. Also gives us chump blockers, but you have so many lands that if we just are patient with it, we can actually use it for card advantage. So I think we're just going to Colony Garden here, leave up Red Blast, and I can start chumping with plants. Brainstorm into Ponder, probably a shuffle. No, never mind. I'll block 5 here. They're just going to pass. We get a Gruul Turf. All right, we're going to play Turf, pick up a Garden. I could have glimpsed or plotted the Rising, but then we don't have Red Blast. They swing for 5 and just pass. We are now getting absolutely flooded. I guess I should plot this Rising now. Might as well use our mana. I will chump block and just play an island. We get a Biograph, which we can hardcast if we want. I think we'll go for Glimpse the Impossible. Probably it's a counter spell. Yeah, we'll give this a try. Then next turn I could like replay Garden, Biograph off of it with a Red Blast backup. So if they counter this, at least I'm dodging a counterspell next turn. Yup. So I could Red Blast, but I don't think it's worth it. If I can get the Biograph to resolve, then I can also make another 5/5 with the Tumbleweed Rising. Swing for 5, pass the turn. Oh my gosh. So many lands. I guess I could just hardcast the Graph. I still have mana for everything else, so I don't even need to sacrifice a creature. Sure, let's do that. If they're playing Spell Pierce or something, this makes it worse. I'll try to Red Blast. We're only playing 19 lands for the record. We've drawn 9 of them. And only 5 spells. Brainstorm. They play an Aquifer, and they just Sleep with the Dead, the plant token. Which means if we don't draw anything at all, we're just dead. Even if I get like a Chrysalis, if they have a counter spell and then can double tap with the Sleep of the Dead, we would die. Glimmer Baron. Well, we'll see if that resolves. It does. I guess I have to cast this to make a 1/1. And then if they still just try to sleep both of them, we're still going to lose. Sleep the Baron. Cast down the Elemental. So they have counterspell backup or something. Dude, we drew so many lands. If we didn't, I think we would have been fine. If we drew like 1 or 2 more spells, we could have been fine. Alright, we're on the play here, and now, of course, we have a 1-lander. We have a 2-lander, but it's all green mana. I mean, I think we keep this, and we hope to find a red source. They mulligan to 5. Start with the Swarmkeeper. If we draw a mountain here, like Raphael into then Garden Hold Up Red Blast would be really good. Glimmer Baron's not bad either. Trigger the Swarm Keeper. We can actually play the Baron. Swing for 2. So a bit of an aggressive start, but we need to get either more castables or a red source. If we start drawing our 4-drops, we're going to be not able to get there just off of our creatures that are on board, I don't think. They did have a mulligan to 5, so they might have to spend several turns sculpting their draws, but still. They do ponder, finding an island. We get a red blast. Hit for 3. Thought Scour. Hits Sleep of the Dead. Brainstorm. And there's a terror. We do get a mountain, so I guess I just red blast the terror attack for 3. I could hold up a red blast for their next spell, but if they play like terror and have a counterspell for it, that doesn't seem very good. This at least keeps up the pressure. And obviously Raphael right now doesn't really do much for us. Aquifer, and they have another terror. Fists of Flame doesn't do much right now. I guess I go for the red blast. If they have a Dispel or a Hydro, it doesn't work. Maybe I just do that at their end step then? No, we'll do it now, just in case they don't have it, I suppose. But there's the Hydroblast. Cyclolorian for another Aquifer. No attacks, so no other creatures. We get a Gruul Turf. So I could just red blast this. Probably gets countered. I think I'd rather just play Raphael here. Gruul Turf back the Colony Garden. They Hydro that. They Sleep of the Dead the Swarm Keeper. Interesting. Swing for 5. We can take it. They pass. Chrysalis is a great draw. We'll just play that. I was thinking about red blasting this, but we'll just cast this. If they have a counter spell, so be it. I still get to pump the Swarm Keeper twice here. And my Baron could attack for 9. I think we'll just leave it at 1 for now. Mental Note, hits Island Brainstorm. They have 1 card in hand, and they can Sleep at the Dead again. They might have to sleep the Baron now, because it's going to be pretty big. They attack. I think I'll just take it, since the tokens are representing damage here. Yep, going to tap the Baron. Glimpse the Impossible. Let's cast that. We get a whole bunch of lands. We'll attack the Swarm Keeper. I think we'll just play the Gruul Turf, bouncing the Garden, and I'm going to hold up Red Blast for the Sleep of the Dead. Plus I get 2 more tokens here. So the Glimmer Baron is going to be lethal by a mile, and the Cloakwood Swarm Keeper almost is too. If they go for Sleep of the Dead, I'll counter it, and then they have to use another Sleep of the Dead, which means they wouldn't be able to do anything else, and then I can Fists of Flame on whichever one of these doesn't get tapped down. We will block here, because I don't need this many tokens, and in case they do have like an Unexpected Fangs. Yeah, so I'll go to counter this. I suppose if they have Hydro untapped land, they can counter this, and then, or Dispel, and then also tap down the Swarm Keeper. Okay, well, they might have a counter spell. We do have a Colony Garden to grow this. I could sack a million of these to make the Tumbleweed Rising creature bigger than just a 6/6, but I think it's going to be plenty here. Not to mention this presents lethal, so if they counter this, then Fists of Flame will be lethal. So either way we can get there, they give us a GG's. Alright, mana problems persist. 1 land, and it's a Gruul Turf. Now all mountains, with a pretty otherwise serviceable hand. Alright, we'll keep this one, get rid of Rancor Groff, I guess. They have a Lunarch Veteran. We'll start with Mountain. Inspector, and another Inspector. Swing for 1. Forest would be a great draw. Ugh, Colony Garden is super awkward. I would have liked that last turn, but now if I play it, I get more value out of my Gruul Turf, but then I have nothing to play this turn. Either way, I have no 2-drop to play. I could play a 0/1, and then next turn I get to play Bayou Groff maybe, or Raphael, bounce something. Or I could Gruul Turf a Mountain. I think it's basically the same, except I do get 1 more Garden the other way, or this way, so I'll do this, but awkward draws for our lands. They're just cracking a clue token, so probably looking for their 3rd land drop, which is good news for us. We are going to take 3 here. Oh, they do have a Plains and an Inspector. Swarm Keeper. So I could Bayou Groff the plant. We have a nice big blocker, but if they have removal, then it's not great. Although it's the same if I Raphael and they remove that. Except that I've lost an extra plant. Although Raphael still lets them attack with their Inspectors, get in for 2. So I think we should play the Groff here. Gruul Turf back the Garden. Pass. Hope for no Journey or Thraben Charm. They crack a clue. They still attack with everything. I guess willing to throw away a creature for 3 damage. But I'll take that trade. Play a Plains. We get an Impact Tremors as well. I do get more damage by playing Impact Tremors first. And it is more protected. Plus Swarmkeeper is going to be a 2/2, so I probably can afford to do this. Of course, they can also Thraben Charm this, so it's not that much more protected, but that's okay. Swarmkeeper, deal a damage, unless they just want to blow it up right away. Garden, deal another damage, get a counter here. So I can attack with the Groff. 5 damage is a lot to pass up on, so I think we will. We do have a blocker that stops them from attacking unless they have a pump spell of some sort, which is totally possible. Crack another clue. Militia Bugler. Okay. That means they probably can't get in for an attack here unless they have like a Remosian Rally. Or I guess it's turn 5, so they could still have a land and then removal. They have an Informant and a Plains. Play that. Discard a Strands. Yeah, that is unfortunate. Alright, no attacks is good though. And we do have now Raphael and Impact Tremors. Of course, they can blank damage for a turn with the Strands, but the fact that we have reliable damage over and over and over that they can't otherwise do much about is pretty good. We don't even have to attack into. We do Malevolent Rumble into just a forest, unfortunately. But we get a counter here. We get to ping them for a bunch. I could forest into another Rumble right now, but I think I might as well just Gruul Turf back the Garden. And now there's no reason to attack. If I attack with the Groff, they could take 5, or they could like trade off a Bugler or something for it, but they could also just trade their Strands for it. Plus, I think we're just on the defensive, trying to win through the pinging of playing creatures now, because our best way to lose is them getting an Anthem and just attacking with everybody. Veterans can definitely offset some of our damage, unfortunately. Inspector, gain 2, crack the clue. Chrysalis would be really nice. Another big blocker with lots of blockers, actually. Pings for a bunch, and is colorless, so it can't get Strands, even on defense. Probably what I'm going to rumble for. They have a Garrison. They're probably not playing a red splash like a Rally the Peasants. They could be, but a lot of the white weenie decks have just started playing a couple bounce lands as card advantage, because it's basically 2 lands in one. It's not a bad idea. It works okay, but in my experience, I'd prefer just not having any tap lands in the deck. But it is a cool idea. Obviously, we're running bounce lands, but we have a little bit more reason with more ETB lands, although they'll probably still have a Grange or 2. Rancor, not the best thing ever here. Let's go for a Rumble. We did not get a Chrysalis still. We got Cloakwood Swarmkeeper or Bairn. Swarmkeeper's only going to be a 2/2 with this Garden. Bairn could be a lot bigger. 1, 2, 3, 4. Although, of course, they have the Strands to make it kind of useless. I kind of think the Swarmkeeper, which is going to be reliable damage, is better. Or reliably a large size. I don't know. They take 2 there. Swarmkeeper, deal them another 2. And as soon as they cast like a Strands on a turn, I'm going to stop playing creatures for that turn so we don't waste damage. But while they're not using it, I'm happy to keep playing our creatures. Colony Garden gives 2 counters, 2 more damage. Things are definitely working decently here, although I'm still annoyed I didn't get a Chrysalis there. And I think we'll just pass. We're not under a lot of pressure until they get a flyer, really, or several flyers with like a Battle Screech. They're just going to cast a Leonardo. Interesting. Seeing as they can't get in with it, I suppose. Ooh. Okay, now they're attacking with the team. Well, that's interesting. So they could have a Guardian's Pledge. They could have a Remosian Rally, although they already have an untapped creature with the Bugler. I think we want to play around Guardian's Pledge. So if my 5/5 can block a 2/3, still eat it and not die. My 5/4 can block a 1/2, same thing, and then block here. I could block a Raphael on like a Veteran. It would die to a Guardian's Pledge, which I don't love. Same with the small Swarmkeeper on something. So if I want to play it safe, I could just block like 2 of these. If I don't block everything, they could have another Leonardo, but I feel like they probably... Why would they cast this one first? If they had another they were about to use... They might have 2 Remosian Rallies. Maybe that's why. Or I guess maybe they have a Remosian Rally and they have the Strands they're going to use on green. I don't really know, but I think this is probably fine blocks. We don't really lose these, and we trade some tokens. If they want a Strands just to keep their guys alive, that's not that bad for us. It's possible since we're on the defense, I should have put Rancor on just like a random token, so it could have power to block more effectively, knowing that when it dies I can bring it back. Even if I put it on a spawn, I would have the ability to bring it back whenever I want. I think that's not a bad idea. So unless I'm not expecting or not properly anticipating something, I think we're good here. I mean, if they have Guardian's Pledge and Remosian Rally, then I'm going to lose the Swarmkeeper and the Biograph, but I don't think I can play around both of those. So unless they have some combination of that, I think we're okay with any one Anthem and or a Strands. Oh, the only thing is maybe I should have blocked this plant. It's 1 damage regardless, so I probably should have blocked this plant on this Inspector. Just in case they do have a Leonardo, they would be able to pick up not an Inspector, so it would just be a Veteran. They do have the Leonardo, okay. Yep, so I should have blocked the Inspector. This is going to kill their other Leonardo, meaning I'm taking 7 off of these. No, 7, 8. I'm still not sure why they played the other one first. But yeah, I should have made slightly different blocks, as we saw. Because now they just get an extra clue, which is not perfect. We go to 5. There's no way we can kill them on the crackback because they're going to play a creature and then have the Inspector up. I mean, it wasn't the worst thing ever, but like I said, I didn't play it perfectly, and yeah. Oh, and they have a plane, so they can crack their clue or play a 2-drop. Go for the clue. Chrysalis would be great. That's still what I'm holding out for. Impact Tremors is not really where we need to be. We did 2 rumbles and couldn't find what we wanted. They have 6 creatures, we only have 5 blockers. So I guess if they have another Leonardo, we might just die. But for now, I think we're doing the Rancor play that we saw before, or said before, and then we're just passing, because we have nothing else. I could have put it on like the Raphael so it could trade with the Leonardo. Maybe that would have been better, but because right now I'm going to have to block the Leonardo with one of our big guys. They have another Informant, discard of Plains. Inspector. I mean, they are running out of cards. So if we get Chrysalis or Glimpse, actually at this point, Glimpse into Chrysalis and some other stuff would be our best bet. We could definitely turn the corner, but we need to draw something relevant for sure. They're going to swing with everything, so like I said, if they have another Leonardo, we're just going to die. This blocks here, this blocks here. I'm going to trade this here, I suppose. Block, block. And they could still have like an Remosian Rally, but it doesn't do too much here. It gets them to eat this and this without losing their guys. Okay, they're going to Strands. Prevent damage from green sources, which means I'm not going to kill any of these 3, and we're going to lose the Groff. If that's it, though, this is colorless, so it still eats that. This still eats the Veterans. It's not the worst ever. And if we do find Glimpse into Chrysalis, that could ping them for like 15, and they wouldn't have a way to stop it now. That'd be really funny. Alright, Rancor comes back to hand. Come on. I'll just take a Chrysalis, but Glimpse into Chris would be premium. They get back their Phantom. Honestly, that being a flyer could be problematic. Unless we get Chris. Okay. Alright, I'll take it. This is going to hit for 9 and give our Swarm Keepers some damage, or some more power. We have 6 blockers, they have 7 attackers, so if they find a Leonardo, we're going to die. But we'll do this again on a spawn. Just pass the turn, hope for the best. Inspector. Like, if we can just stall out now and then get enough creatures to ping them to death, 3 at a time, that would be fantastic. Informant, discards of Plains. No attacks is great for us. Groff is kind of medium, but we'll take it. They do have 2 more creatures than we do, so if they just find like a +1/+1 pump, like a Remosian Rally, we are gonna die. Or like a Choco or something. There's a Battle Screech. Well, that means we're dead next turn, unless we can kill them. Which is theoretically possible. If we like Glimpse into Malevolent Rumble into Chrysalis, we could definitely deal like 18 in a turn. Colony Garden is not gonna do it. Unfortunately, we only have 1 reach creature and they have 5 flyers. They also have a Thraben Charm for the Chrysalis. They're going to swing with everybody, and unfortunately, we're going to die. We do get our Fiery Cannonades, Heritage Reclamation, and maybe Tormod's Crypt. I kind of think the trample spells, counterintuitively, like, should be really good, but with Prismatic Strands and the fact that we're probably just going to be on the defense, I kind of think we do just want to be winning from our triggers here, mostly. All right, 1 lander we can't keep. 5 lander, yeah, we can keep this one. Not a forest, so our hand's a little more awkward, but I really don't want to get rid of a Gruul Turf. I think I'm just getting rid of a Glimmer Baron. It's not the best in this matchup anyway. Ideally, we can get some really good use out of this Fiery Cannonade. There's a Veteran. Another Mountain. We'll just go for the Gruul Turf so we can get green mana. I could Mountain because I'm probably not going to Fiery Cannonade this next turn unless they just play like 2 Inspectors here, which is a possibility. Very real possibility. Still not sure if I'll want to. They could also play that and then Leonardo here. Okay, not playing anything, that's totally fine. So I think I'm just going to Impact Tremors then. I could obviously play one of our 1-drops, but currently we don't have a way to make it so they don't die to our own Cannonade. So I don't really want to do that. If I'm lucky, they'll play like Rafine's Informant or something with 2 toughness, not discarding a Prismatic Strands. They crack a clue, so obviously Cannonade can be good later, but it gets more precarious the later you go, so I kind of like to just get the value when I can. I don't think I'm just going to use it on 2 of these, though. Lightning Bolt. We have no ways to make tokens. I guess we're going to take a chance and just play the Swarmkeeper because ideally we will find a way to make tokens with like a Chrysalis or something. Like Chrysalis only gives it 1 counter. Maybe it'll just die to the Cannonade. Battle Screech. Alright, well, we're definitely going to Fiery Cannonade next turn. So, I guess the only way I could keep my Swarmkeeper alive would be like a Rumble into another token maker for cheap. Colony Garden. I could chump block. I think the 1 damage... It's worth taking 1 damage to potentially be able to save the Swarmkeeper. Although I'm not expecting to be able to. There could be a way. Heritage Reclamation. I could Reclamation away the Veteran right away. We're definitely attacking, because might as well. They're going to block. Yeah, I think we just... Oh, they double block. Look at that. Aha, they're cowards after all. So I get in for the damage. Fiery Cannonade. I think I am just going to exile this. This is part of why this card is here. Glimpse the Impossible. Alright. Obviously, the Swarmkeeper ended up being a bad card to have played, but we still got some good value there. I mean, it ended up being a 3 for 2 instead of a 3 for 1. They have another Battle Screech. Okay, but no 1-drop is something. Chrysalis is good. So, yeah, I think I'll probably play Chrysalis and Glimmer Bairn. Hold up a Lightning Bolt. Then next turn I can Glimpse the Impossible. Journey to Nowhere is going to get the Chris. Okay. Unfortunate I just used the Heritage Reclamation. That's okay. I'm just going to swing with the birds. Well, we'll see if they want to Leonardo one of them. And they don't. We'll just hold up the Bolt for now. Another Impact Tremors. We'll play that into... We'll sack these for the Glimpse. Because if I get something that costs green mana, I would like to be able to play it. Like a Chrysalis, although we don't have 4 mana, so never mind. Let's see. Gruul Turf, I suppose. Each one of these that I don't use is 2 damage to them and a spawn, which could be 2 more damage later. Not really confident. Like a Bolt is 3 damage. I guess I could Bolt both of their creatures, though. That might be worth it. Sure. Get rid of a bird. Attack with the Bairn. And then I'll get 2 spawn here. Hit for 4. I don't get the Chrysalis off of the Glimpse when I want to. I get it when I can't afford to cast it, unfortunately. I could just kill this bird, but I think I'm fine with it. We're probably not going to see a Leonardo because it would be wasting a bird and only dealing 1 damage. But if we did, I could Bolt that. Or we could just save bolts for their face. I could hit for 5 right now. I think we'll sack 1. Just hit for 3. In case they want to like Prismatic Strands, I can break it up. It seems like they probably don't have much going on, but... Bolts might also be necessary to prevent the Battle Screech from happening, killing a couple creatures, so... Skyfisher. Probably just picks up a Plains, because I don't think they want to give us back our Chris. Swing for 1. I will Bolt the Skyfisher. Bayou Groff. Swing. I'll sack. Hit for 3. Hardcast a Groff. Hit for 2. Alright. It feels like they have a million Plains in hand. Maybe some Anthems or something, but they would have probably used them to keep the Skyfisher around. There's another Battle Screech. So I could Bolt this bird so they can't Battle Screech again. That's really tough, because both can also just go to their face. And that means if I find any 2 creatures, I can kill them. I think I'm going to let it go. Tough call. But if I find like a Chrysalis, well, I guess Chrysalis already kills them, so does Glimpse. That's something that I hadn't quite considered. And now I could die to an Anthem of some sort, especially if I get a dead draw here. That's not a dead draw. Pings for 2. So if they don't block both of these, then I can kill them with the Bolt, which they do. Pass the turn. They would need like Guardian's Pledge plus Remosian Rally or Summon Chocomog. They Battle Screech. Sure. Well, Rumble looks pretty good. If they have a Strands, they could stop this, but otherwise they're taking 3 here. Alright. We got that game. They have less than 5 minutes left. It seems like they just got extremely flooded. We have a 1-lander. We have another 1-lander. I'm mulligan to 5 as well. I guess this is keepable with just 2 mountains. Yeah, we got to be playing some top lands, clearly, which sucks, but what are you going to do? Gonna put these 2 back, keep our most valuable / playable cards, I think, and hope we don't lose really quickly just because we have a bad hand. There's a Rumble. They go straight to attacks. Not sure if that was intentional or not. Swing for 1. They do have a Plains. Play another Inspector. We get a Gruul Turf. So I could play Raphael, which blocks. Or I could play Gruul Turf, and then next turn I have 3 mana, and I get to, like, Swarmkeeper Raphael. And that also makes us have Chrysalis on time. I guess I could have Chrysalis on time either way. So it just lets me Swarmkeeper earlier, but that's probably good. Yeah, we'll go for the Turf. These lands are killing me. They crack a Clue. Good sign. Swing for 2. Play a Plains. Get a Bolt. I could hold that up, but I think we're just going for Raphael Swarmkeeper. So that next turn Chris grows the Swarmkeeper. Informant ditches a Battle Screech. Pretty good. Raven Charm the Raphael. They attack instead of going for the Battle Screech. I guess they're playing around a Fiery Cannonade. Tumbleweed could be good. We are going to Chris. Unfortunately, now we don't get to hit for 3, but at least we get to grow our Swarm Keeper, have a nice blocker. They have another Thraben Charm and another Thraben Charm. Okay. Well, that's crazy. Although they accidentally don't attack and don't cast Battle Screech. So that's pretty helpful for us. Well, I was going to Tumbleweed Rising, but now obviously that's bad. So let's go for a Rumble. Tremors. I think we're honestly just winning off of time, probably. Not that that's my favorite way to win. But I think we're just taking a Swarm Keeper here. I'm going to bolt the Informant while they don't have anything else going on. Gruul Turf back a mountain. Pass the turn. I think they potentially could have gotten there if they played it a little bit. I mean, the triple Thraben Charm was pretty rough for us. But they missed out on an attack or a Battle Screech, which is not great for them. Now they're going to swing. We'll take it. Just 2, luckily. Skyfisher back. Inspector. I mean, we could still die. Skyfisher's a good draw for sure. Bolt is a good draw for us, though. If I Swarm Keeper and then Tumbleweed Rising, I get just a 1/1. But I do grow my Swarm Keeper. Really not my favorite thing ever. We are going to bolt the Skyfisher. I think I'm going to just plot this. I can block with the Spawn for a turn if they don't just Battle Screech, and so I can always make that a 1/1 next turn if I really want. They do have a Veteran into an Inspector. They probably can't afford to play around Cannonade anymore, which means if they go for the Battle Screech and then I do get the Cannonade, it's really good. Crack a Clue. Play a Garrison. Another Tumbleweed Rising. Well, I guess I'm going to cast one of these, grow this, and then we can cast the other one, make a 2/2. Not doing quite what we need them to. So I have one blocker. I really don't think we're just going to be able to deal them 22 damage, so I think we just hold back, try to make sure we don't die as best we can. Play another Inspector, crack a Clue, another Garrison. We are going to need a way to deal with these birds, though, because we could die to them pretty quick here. Another Inspector. Swing for 2. Glimmer Baron is decent, I suppose. Good blocker. Pass the turn. But yeah, we could definitely die, especially if they get like a Leonardo. Bugler is a pretty good way to find one. Finds another Bugler, which they're going to cast, I assume. That finds a Leonardo, and they have the white mana for it. 5, so it's going to hit for a bunch. Well, this is actually pretty sure not lethal, and they're actually giving us the ability to kill off a bunch of their creatures, so I'm not sure they're doing this quite right. Block, 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 because it's going to be a 9. They're going to hit for 10 here, so I might just die to the bird next turn if I don't get anything. But they, like I said, they are just giving us the ability to kill a bunch of their creatures. I actually don't know if I want to trade this for the Veteran, because it gives them another flyer. Yeah, I probably should have blocked with the Spawn. Let's just sack this, I guess. Well, we'll go to 1, and if we get a Chrysalis, we have 5 creatures if we get a Bolt. Anyway, okay, we actually got the Chrysalis. I definitely thought we were just going to lose. So they've already used 3 Thraben Charms, assuming they don't have another Thraben or Journey to Nowhere. We might not die here, because we could block everything, and we will. They do attack with the team. Block here, block, 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 block. Actually, this one can block here and eat that. Everything's blocked. Sacrifice to grow this. Sacrifice to grow this. Then we're eating this, 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 and this, assuming they don't have the strands. And they have 16 seconds and threw away most of their creatures. We get a land, but we're going to pass back to them. And even if they have the removal now, they don't have a flyer, so we won the match. I mean, obviously if they had more time, they might have been able to play a little bit better and get there, but that's what happens when you take 8 more minutes than your opponent, so we do end up getting there against White Weenie. Alright, we actually have a hand that is keepable with the lands we have. Bit unfortunate we have to, unless we draw Forest here, play the Swarmkeeper after the Colony Garden, but what are you going to do? I mean, I wouldn't hate a Forest on turn 1 here, but I'd also be happy drawing other relevant spells. We're against Rally, it looks like. Chrysalis is good. They're just going to swing for 1, and I'll take it. They're going to pass. Okay. If they had tapped out, I might Rancor the plant, so I'd have a blocker that can trade, but I think I'm just going to Swarmkeeper, hold up Lightning Bolt here. If they just kill the Swarmkeeper, it's not that big of a deal. There's the Galvanic on it. Just swing for 1 again. We'll take it. Alright, they don't have much going on. Ooh, and we get a Gruul Turf. Yeah, probably just playing that on my garden. Pick it back up. I could have, my only alternative was really like glimpsing the impossible and just getting a bunch of spawn and not playing anything, which I didn't love anyway, so I'm happy to have an alternative. I feel like they either have all burn in hand, or maybe they have like a couple bushwhackers they've been trying to save. They actually galvanic the plant. I'm happy with that, but I assume we'll see bushwhacker. Yep. So I'm going to bolt that, and they're pretty low on cards now, so I feel like Chrysalis is going to be able to stop and take over the game pretty quickly here. Then next turn I can actually Viashino as an 8/8, sacking all my spawn and my garden plant. So we might actually be able to see the Viashino do some work. Remember, this can gain trample itself. Also, it's as this creature enters, you may sacrifice any number of creatures, meaning they won't be able to bolt it before it has the counters, which is good for us. Ooh, or do I want to play another Chrysalis and then go for a bigger Viashino? I mean, I think we do that. It's just, I mean, they might just concede. We won't be able to do much about that, but, or maybe we'll just die to burn here. I'll just pass the turn. Next turn, we can Rancor on a Chrysalis. They do hit just creatures, which is good, because burn is definitely the main way we lose this now. Burning Tree and Tomb Raider. Impact Tremors. I think we're beyond that. So I'm going to cast this Viashino. Sacrifice, plant, spawn, spawn, spawn. I think that's all of them. Get 8 counters on our Chrysalises. We have a 12/12 here. Then we'll Rancor on a Chrysalis. Swing for 8. The next turn we can swing for 20 with Trample between the Viashino and the Chrysalis. So as long as we don't get burned out here, we should have it. Which we could. I get a Burning Tree into Rally into Bushwhacker. That might kill us. Galvanic for just 2. Probably not going to cut it. Alright, let's glimpse the impossible, see if we get anything relevant. Fists of Flame also gives Trample. Alright, so I guess we can attack with everything now. Fists of Flame tramples here, and we'll activate this to give it Trample. Oh, well, they didn't even block it, so I don't even need to. Fists on this guy, and we'll deal him 27 damage. That was pretty sweet, I must say. So here is where Fiery Cannonade is good, but also not at its best, because it doesn't kill a Tomb Raider, and obviously we would like to, but that's okay. We're going to get Life Goes On. I think we're even going to bring an Ancient Grudge, maybe, if we have room. I mean, the Viashino was great there, but if they had a better start, I think it wouldn't have been good enough, to be honest. I think we're probably going to cut those. The Tumbleweed Risings are just too reliant on other creatures, I think. And the Glimpse is just going to give us a bunch of 1/1s. I don't think that's good enough here, because it's going to be really hard to get to enough mana where we can actually cast the spells. I don't have to bring an Ancient Grudge, but if we are able to pick off a land, or even a Percussionist as an attacker, or a Synth, make sure to cut off the Tomb Raider. You know, we have a lot of uses for it. It can be decent. And I think we just, like I said, had quite a few cards in our main deck that are not at their best here. Alright, this hand looks decent. Decent mana. A lot of cheap cards that we can play. Do you start with a Great Furnace and no 1-drop? Get another Bolt, so let's go for Colony Garden. Burning Tree Emissary. Into Burning Tree Emissary. Okay, well, they might just have the nuts. There's the Rally. I mean, I want to block. I also want to hold up Life Goes On with the ability to gain the life, but if we do that, I won't be able to Gruul Turf this back. Yeah, I think we'll just chump for now. Swarm Keeper. Yeah, I think we're just playing that as a random guy that'll probably just get killed off. Bounce this here. I mean, I'll trade it for a 1/1, honestly, here, if they don't kill it. Reckless Impulse, Mountain, Galvanic. They're just going to kill the Swarm Keeper. Impact Tremors. So let's Colony Garden and pass. I can Lightning Bolt their Emissary into Life Goes On, as well as block the other Emissary. Synth finds a Percussionist. Lightning Bolt, gain 8. We'll go to 15 here. Mountain isn't terrible, because I can Lightning Bolt and Raphael. Yeah, I guess that's what we're doing. I was thinking about Rumbling, but I might as well just bolt down an Emissary, I think. They're going to bolt the Raphael. Percussionist. Bolt will go to 11. I mean, we're holding on pretty well, considering they had kind of the nuts, but I'm not confident we're actually going to be able to fully stabilize. Synth into a Synth, into a Tomb Raider, with no Mountain is nice. Another Life Goes On. Gonna Rumble here. Bayou Groff. Okay. Take a Bayou Groff. I'll do that right now, sacking the spawn. Then I'll gain another 8. If they can't kill Groff, this is a good blocker. They have a Bushwhacker. Not fantastic. We'll take 8 here. Gruul Turf. I need a Chrysalis. I guess we'll play Tremors into Gruul Turf. Bounce the Garden. They play Burning Tree, sack a Synth into a Galvanic. So they currently can't cast. Now we get an Ancient Grudge. I mean, it's not the worst. I can kill these Synths before they can make 2/2s out of them. They exile some random cards, play a garden. I mean, we're still almost dead for sure, but I could have killed the percussionists, but those actually drew him cards, so it didn't feel amazing. Block and go to 5. They fire blast us. Alright, we die. I mean, glimpses would have been better than the Ancient Grudge there at that specific time, but I feel like the Ancient Grudge would have been decent earlier because they were stuck on some mana. I don't know. Alright, we'll keep this one. Play a Swarmkeeper. I mean, we don't have any way to make tokens, so our hand is looking pretty underwhelming. I played the 1/1, not the 1/2, which means they actually get in for damage. That's a little annoying. Colony Garden. Well, I guess we'll play Raphael. Swing for 1. Next turn I can play Plant, grow this, ping them for 1, then a Groff. Assuming they don't just kill Raphael. Okay, Burning Tree Rally, but I can eat a 1/1 if they want to attack with it. I mean, they get in for a lot of damage still, but it's not the worst. Another Colony Garden. Ping them for 1. Sack this plant. I mean, I could maybe race them. If I attack for 3 here. Attack with the Swarmkeeper. I don't think we need to attack with the Raphael. It's only 1 damage and it blocks better. If they just have like Galvanic on the Groff after 2 artifacts, it's not great. If they had a rally and stuff, it's not fantastic. Yeah, definitely happy to leave back the Raphael. So if they attack here, I get to eat an Emissary. Unless they're going to Fire Blast this Groff, which is what it feels like right now. There it is. Okay, that's not great. But they are at 1 land, 1 card. Impact Tremors, Glimmer Bairn, Colony Garden. They go to 11. Let's see. Block, block, block. We go to 6. Block. Even if they have a Bushwhacker, a Mountain. Alright, I think we attack for 3 again. We're pretty close to winning the race here. Especially with Fists of Flame on like a Glimmer Bairn. If we can get like another couple ways to make plants or any tokens. They do have land Bushwhacker, but this doesn't kill us because we did the math. Because they're out of cards, so we just need to block one of the 2 power creatures. So I can block here, here. I might as well block here, actually. Eat this. Then we have 5, 6 damage on them. So we need to draw something. Life Goes On isn't terrible. Fists of Flame draws us a card here. Malevolent Rumble is going to do it. Pings them for 2, and then it pings for another 2. We even get a Forest, so I can Life Goes On after that. So we can attack for 10, and even gain another 8 life. Pretty good stuff there. Alright, we have a pretty reasonable keep. Not quite as many creatures as we might like, but otherwise some decent mana and such. Start with the Colony Garden and pass. Just a forest. We're going to go for a Rumble here, try to find some creature to apply pressure. Swarmkeeper. We only have a way to make like 1 or 2 more tokens. I honestly think I'm going to do this via Shino, because then we can sack the Rumble token plant for a 6/6. If I Gruul Turf the other plant first, make another plant, maybe it's an 8/8. We might be against elves, in which case the big creature could be pretty relevant. Cycle a Troll, so it looks more like Dredge probably, or Spy. Winding Way, so Spy is what I'm guessing now. They do get 4 creatures in their hand. Lotus Petal into Caretaker, so they don't have to discard is interesting. Especially when you'd think they'd be happy to discard a Giant or something. Raphael, so I could just play the Viashino now, sacrificing the spawn to pay for it, but then I'm only making a 4/4. That's not great. I mean, we're probably going to be too slow for Spy, to be honest, before we get our Tormod's Crypts. But I think we're just going to play Raphael, Gruul Turf, bounce this, and pass. Next turn I'll play Viashino as like a 6/6. Then I can Rising as a 6/6. I don't know. If they stumble a little bit, although they've already had a pretty decent start, if they stumble a little bit, maybe we can get there. The Land Grant showing us Fiend, Spy, Vandal. So they can Spy next turn, and they can Fiend right now to take our Bolt. Yeah. I mean, I guess if I draw another Bolt, Bolt the Fiend into Bolt the Guardian could keep us alive. I mean, I guess yeah, because they could Saga Wildling for the last land. And if we do that, they wouldn't have enough mana to do that and go for the Spy in a single turn. There's the Lightning Bolt, Swarmkeeper. I mean, Fist of Flame could draw it for us, but otherwise we're just dead on board. Yeah, I think we're just gonna pack it up. We get Tormod's, Heritage Reclamation. That's about it. Viashino's probably too slow. Alright, we have a reasonable keep. Slower than the last one, with no green source to start. But Heritage Reclamation is obviously some interaction. Lotus Petal. Let's go for a battlement right away. Chris, just pick up our mountain. They play a Caretaker, Quirion, another battlement into Saga Wildling for a swamp, Colony Garden. I mean, part of me, they only have 2 lands out, so the chances that they go for Spy this next turn or low. But it's not impossible. With as much mana as they have, they could definitely have 2 Generous Sense to cycle and a Spy. But I don't think we're going to save the Reclamation for that possibility. Not this turn. Because then we're just playing nothing and we're in a really bad spot. I could have rumbled into a Tormod's Crypt potentially. That might have been a not terrible idea. That's probably what I'll do next turn, and then hold up the Reclamation, assuming we don't just die here. There is a Generous End. Wall of Roots. And they have the Spy, but they have 1 land left in their deck. They're just going to go for it. And they hit 28 creatures. I assume they probably got a Giant, Lotless Giant, and a Dread Return. Well, that's what happens when they get lucky. Like I said, I could have just left up the Reclamation. I didn't think they'd have the way to get 2 lands, and they didn't, but I also didn't anticipate them just going for it anyway, and getting lucky enough to win. So they probably wouldn't have gone for it if we had 2 mana up, but maybe. I don't know. Spy is definitely not the type of matchup that we're really hoping to play against, playing a relatively slow, fair game plan. But obviously we could be playing more Tormod's Crypts, more Heritage Reclamations in the sideboard. Maybe not a terrible idea. Maybe there's some other better cards to play too. Obviously relics and things like that, but again, we were trying to keep things relatively budget. Overall though, we got a 3-2 with the deck. It wasn't bad. Obviously just playing pretty good cards like Chrysalis and Malevolent Rumble, Lightning Bolt does a lot of work. I didn't for a second regret having 4 Lightning Bolts in the deck, and even in the matches where we drew 2 or 3 of them against like White Weenie, they were fantastic. Our mana was rough, and I think we probably should put 2 or 3 Bristling Backwoods in the deck in place of some basics. Means we're going to have more tap lands, but the deck, obviously, just about any deck, it's better to have tap lands that produce all your colors of mana than not have some of those colors of mana at all. Definitely most of the time I think we were hoping for more green mana, so obviously we could just play a couple more forests. But there were also some times where we wanted to have a turn to Impact Tremors or Raphael, and we didn't have that either. So I think I'd cut a couple like this, just so you can more reliably have those early turns smoothed out. I will say we had 1 or 2 games with a Thorn Thrash Viashino was not terrible. I wasn't expecting it to do super well, but it actually did some decent work. It is the type of creature that dies to Doomblade, just gets cast down for no value. So I'm not sure this is the best card long-term in this deck, but it wasn't actually too bad, so I wouldn't hate trying it out a couple more times. I actually really liked the Raphael in here. It was susceptible to removal a few times, like Lightning Bolts, but there were also several times where it was really important to have that blocker. Impact Tremors is just such a dead draw if you're on the back foot, whereas Raphael is at least still a blocker, which was really important against White Weenie and Red Rally. So maybe you go up another Raphael or something. Obviously they're legendary, you can't have more than 1, but I was pretty happy with the 2-2 split instead of all Impact Tremors. I realized I did make some cuts to the deck of some slightly larger creatures, so it's possible that's why Tumbleweed Rising didn't feel fantastic. I cut a 1 of Hand of Emrakul, which is absolutely one of my favorite cards ever, but just after I cut a lot of the spawn producers, didn't really make sense to keep in, because we also ended up cutting Brood Birthing. I didn't think that was really going to fit in as well as we needed it to, at least into this version. You could definitely go a little bit heavier on the spawn theme if you wanted, but I actually think if you're going to go for Brood Birthing, you probably want more Hands of Emrakul, and you probably don't want these Tumbleweed Rising because these are just not as relevant. You'd probably just want to focus on the cards that pay off multiple tokens, like the Glimmer Baron, the Viashino, the Chrysalis. So I think that's another way you could take the deck, but this was the way that I thought might be a little bit more streamlined. As for the sideboard, it worked pretty decently. Fiery Cannonade didn't come up that it wasn't a breath weapon. Obviously it will sometimes, and it could be pretty important, but if this is all you can afford, there's nothing wrong with that. Life Goes On works better synergistically with this deck than a Weather the Storm, and Weather's not that expensive, but I don't know if Life Goes On is actually what you would want. Like, Weather the Storm is just a really good card to counteract your opponent's Storm-type plans, and 8 life just isn't necessarily enough against some of the bigger burn decks, but it's not a terrible use here either, and Tormod's Crypt works just fine in a pinch. So you could obviously upgrade some of the sideboard if you wanted, but I think this works just fine. I think this deck is really sweet, so I hope you enjoyed watching. Thanks again, Kenny Roger, for the deck donation. And thanks to my supporters, including my $10 and up monthly supporters. If you want to support me on a monthly basis, it's the best way to make sure I continue putting out daily videos. Thanks to my current supporters like Howard Granger, JDNPX, Halkaz, Cody Cowell, Sty, Benedict, and DJ Vinyl. I really appreciate the support, and I will see you all next time.